Yes, YouTube, what's good? Welcome back to a super quick one. This is a car video. As you can see, there's a different background drop to my normal office settings. I'm just basically waiting for an appointment, and I thought, why not just create some content and make some valuable use of the time? So this is a story on how I scaled too fast in my agency, which then broke down a lot of things with my day-to-day stuff, with my team, with my VAs, with my systems. Basically, almost everything broke down on that side of things with traffic, and it really pushed us back a couple months in terms of overall growth. And hopefully you guys can learn from lessons here, and hopefully you guys can adapt in your agencies. So over the last 6 months now, we've gone heavily focused on organic traffic, right? So I did a lot of mass DMs, I did a lot of Reddit before, black hat and grey hat, meta ads, all this stuff. I did a different range of marketing channels, okay? Now over the last 6 months, we really focused on organic, really pushing organic to its full potential, really scaling organic to its full potential. We literally reaped a lot of the rewards in it. If you go check out my Telegram group, you'll see a lot of the subs and the revenue figures that comes from that group is from pretty much heavily organic, okay? Now, why I say we scale too fast, which broke, is we basically started to build a remote farm, a phone farm, okay? Which we allowed us to have multiple Instagram accounts, multiple TikTok accounts for our models at a pretty good scale. But the problem is I saw proof of concept too quick and scaled too quick. I scaled our phones, I spent thousands of phones way too quick to support our actual infrastructure. Infrastructure meaning team infrastructure. So I had maybe 60 to 70 phones and I didn't have enough team members to actually run it. And why? Because there was bulk discount offers and different reasons why I bought a lot of phones at the start. But that just meant that the team that I had were burnt out, okay? They weren't able to manage the capacity of the phones. They weren't able to actually post on the phones. So that meant so many phones were just sitting there with no accounts, or sitting there with accounts with no posts going out, and there's just literally money being left on the table. Now, if I was to go back and rebuild that whole system, is I would slowly scale at a steady pace. What that means is buy a couple phones, okay, and then add 2 to 3 clusters around that team, and then buy another bunch of phones, and then buy and build another few clusters around the team. And that's basically what we're doing now. Every single model has a cluster around them for Instagram and for TikTok, and we basically scale upon cluster upon cluster upon cluster. It's something I really spoke about on one of my old YouTube channels way back, and that's the cluster effect. So Model A has a cluster of social media managers around them, okay? And that would basically allow us to scale without having crazy infrastructures and misalignments of team and all that kind of shit. Now, the way we relate this back to phone farms is, Model A has 20 devices. 20 devices has one QA, one quality assurance manager, which then looks after 5 to 10 posters. And that would be one cluster. And we just do this at a scale across all our models. We have like 13 models right now at the agency, mostly salaries, and we're literally building these clusters around the models to ensure that, one, everyone is held accountable, but two, there is no break in the scale. Okay, so you can imagine I had team members looking after multiple different models, okay, running around posting on different models on the remote farm. I had phones that wouldn't even get an account created, and it was a mess, to be real with you, right? And I lost so much thousands in revenues, so much potential thousand in revenue, because obviously accounts were not going viral, accounts weren't getting anything. There was a real mix on actual growth, and there was no growth really. Like I was just literally spending money and lost money just by sitting there on the phones. And the key moment and key realization is I used ChatGPT to pretty much reverse engineer my phone farm in alignment with the team to allow us to understand how to build the infrastructure. And that's where I really built the cluster effect for the particular Instagram account itself. And this ties into my next point, which is a really good kind of life lesson, is don't get too attracted to trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? I was trying so hard to push scale. I have money to invest, right? I've been in the game for a bit, so I was just chucking thousands at these phones to try and get the volume of Instagram accounts that we see other people posting on. I personally was a subject of that, right? And now it's growing really well because I have an infrastructure to face it. But at the time, I didn't, at the end of the day, right? And that cost us a lot of money. So, and again, that just comes down to even me, myself, at this point in my career, still comparing to people on socials and people we see on Telegram. And then it cost us thousands in actual revenues that came from those phones. So hopefully, guys, pay attention to that. Hopefully you guys start to build your team and your clusters out, as I've obviously mentioned this. Now the best way to really build out these clusters is just literally having a model, okay, model here, model A, and then you have a social manager, and then model A then has a poster, and then poster then communicates with the social manager or a content manager. Content manager is the one that gets all the content from the model, or from the Telegram groups, or from the Google Drives, and ensures that the posters always have content to be posted at any given moment. There should never be a time where the posters cannot post because there's nothing there, right? That is literally money being left on the table. And that happened to us when we tried to scale and where it broke. No content to post, not enough team to support the amount of phones that we had. It was a mess, right? So make sure you have your systems in place, okay? Make sure you have your content distribution in place, and you will scale very, very well, okay? And I do recommend scale piece by piece. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour, okay? Just really work your way up to it, and you'll find yourself in a much better position than I was at the time, where I was looking at the phones thinking, how has this even happened, to be honest with you? So that's where we're at. Quick thoughts whilst I'm in the car. Hopefully you guys gain a little bit of gems on this. Comment below what kind of videos you want to see on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.